Okay, this is a short iPad 2 training to get you started on navigation and some of the apps that I've used, and I'll give a little review and how much they cost. Hopefully it helps some of you. So the first thing is the size of the iPad 2 is much smaller than the size of the iPad 1, and I didn't think it would be until I bought it. I gave my wife the iPad 1, which she uses to search the web and go on Facebook. But for educational purposes, much lighter to carry around in the classroom, into meetings, and so pretty helpful. So I'll go ahead and go on to the getting around the iPad. Some navigation helps. We'll go over 4 of them: lock rotation, auto lock, external keyboard, and a stylus. Lock rotation is the first one we'll go over. Right now, when you turn your iPad vertically or horizontally, it will rotate the screen automatically. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. There might be times where you want to lock the rotation, like in a web browser experience. To do that, you just go to the settings, general, and then lock rotation. And then the mute button on the iPad then locks the rotation instead of muting your iPad. So that's one way to help navigation. Second is turning off the auto lock. The auto lock feature is by default set to around 5 minutes, meaning when your iPad sits idle for around 5 minutes, it goes into sleep mode. And that's generally okay, but there might be times where you're using it to show users an idea at a table and it's going to sit there longer than 5 minutes and you don't want it to go to sleep. And I have had applications that when it does go to sleep, it turns the application off. And so sometimes that's not so great. So in order to turn off the auto lock, you just go again to settings, general, auto lock, and then change it to never. Next is external keyboard. External keyboard, in the picture here, I actually purchased about a week after I got the iPad. I had big hands, and for most typing, the keyboard on the iPad is fine. But there is times where you're typing a longer letter. An external keyboard can be helpful. So after shopping around, I found this Bluetooth free key is the name of it, and it's at $79, and the website is here as well, and it needs plugged into a USB to recharge, but works really well. It's waterproof, it rolls up, and you can fit it in a computer bag, and it's real versatile. The part I like the best is probably being waterproof and being able to roll up and put away in a smaller space. Next is a stylus. Stylus does come in handy when you're writing on the iPad to give your fingers a rest. Also, there's applications that, like picture applications, and scrolling through your pictures might be a little bit easier using a stylus. And then also handwriting. When you're writing on a notepad using your handwriting versus typing, it helps as well. Recommendation is a Targus, $19.99 at Best Buy, and you can get a black or blue one. The one at Best Buy, I believe, is black. Now let's get into the iPad applications. There's a number of them, number of categories. The first is document management. Dropbox you should be aware of and start using. It does have a client for Mac or PC, and what you do on the Mac or PC is install the client. You work on, say, a Word document, a PDF, PowerPoint. You throw it in the Dropbox. Go to your iPad, which also has Dropbox on it, and you can share files back and forth. Presentations. Go over a number of presentation apps. One is AirSketch. AirSketch allows you to wirelessly view PDF from a Dropbox. $3 for this one. Air Projector, view PDF from Dropbox, also wireless and free. This one also has a pointer to it that allows you to have a kind of a infrared pointer basically on the screen by holding and pressing your finger on the screen. Again, this one's wireless as well. What it means by wireless on these is basically that you can project it to any computer, Mac, PC, laptop, or handheld device that's in the same network, and they'll be able to view that screen. Each one of these applications, Air Sketch, Air Projector, Mobile Presenter, they all give a certain IP address to type in, the computer users to type in, and they can view your iPad and what's on it. And so you can actually present without an overhead. Next is Mobile Presenter. This one's kind of the granddaddy of all of them. You can view all different types of documentations: Excel, Word, PowerPoint, picture files. Picture files are also, by the way, able to be viewed from Air Sketch and Air Projector. The plus side to Mobile Presenter is all docs generally are viewable. It also has a web browser and document management system, and that's $3.99 for that. SinkPad. Recently I started using this one. It works really well. In seconds, you go into a classroom, into a meeting, and it has Wi-Fi connection in the room. You basically start up SinkPad. You give yourself a room name, like Conkle, and you have an automatic whiteboard to begin to broadcast to other people in the room that have a Wi-Fi connection and a web browser. Whether it be laptop, desktop, again, mobile device, or another iPad, they just go to the sinkpad.com / whatever you name the room, and they can see your iPad. ReplayNote. That's what we're using right now to record the iPad screen, PDF, picture, whiteboard. You can, and then share it to YouTube, email, and Facebook. This one's $4.99. That one's really cool too. Just recently came out in the last 3 weeks. Office applications. Everyone creates, edits Word documents, PowerPoint, PDF. These are vital apps to have. Keynote for $9.99. You can open, edit, and create presentations. Pages, open, edit, create Word documents. $9.99 as well. iAnnotate. This one is $9.99, even though it's not on the screen here. Open, edit, and PDF files. This one's real powerful. On iAnnotate, it's actually used in law offices to annotate PDFs and use handwriting, typing, notes can be embedded in there. Goodreader, great application for marking up and reading PDFs. A little cheaper than iAnnotate as well. And as far as recommending one of these for editing PDFs out of the box, Goodreader would be the one I recommend starting with. It's a little cheaper. Again, this one is $9.99. Might even be higher now. Both of them are good, but Goodreader is going to be a better start for you, and it doesn't cost as much. Browsers. Skyfire, $3.99, very fast. Terra, free, and it also serves as a file manager. I recommend the Terra. And then finally, Bookreader. Bookreader, Kindle will be the most popular, and buying books, reading books, and that's free as well. Recommend that. Social media. Everybody's on Facebook. There is free apps for Facebook. I do recommend Friendly for Facebook, 99 cents. Flipboard, totally free. Multi-viewer, you can bring in Facebook, Twitter, a whole bunch of news feeds, New York Times, and it acts like a newspaper as you're flipping through it. Great application, and I really like the price. Free. App Start. This one allows you to look at all the apps or top apps on the iPad store, which is kind of confusing sometimes to read. This is totally free, and they really give cool overviews of the apps and reviews. And then finally, games on this slide. Angry Birds. It's very fun. $4.99. Note-taking. Whether you're in a meeting, classroom, Evernote would be one. Totally free. Recommend that one. Note Plus, $5.99. Live Notes, $5.99. I recommend Evernote for typing and Notes Plus for handwriting. Speech to text. Dragon. It's totally free. You speak in it and it types. And that concludes the iPad training.